What's up, everybody? Steve Sallustio back with you for another exciting episode of Eagles on the Air. Salesian High School is the school that prepares for life. And on today's episode, I'm bringing you an amazing guest, and we're going to hopefully hit on a bunch of these points. I want to talk about how Salesian prepared him in his personal career. I want to talk about some influential people on his journey. I want to talk a little bit about how he did as a student here at Salesian High School, and then anything else he'd like to say. I have a very, very, very special ending for him. But let me get this out of the way. I'd like to introduce my guest as none other than the class of 2010's Dr. Michael Foti. Mike, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I tell you what, I remember you as a junior in my math class so vividly that calling you Dr. Foti might be tough for me. Or might just, if Mike is okay.
Mike is more than enough.
That's all I wanted to hear.
You're Mr. Sallustio, though. Sorry.
Steve is fine. You know, I'm perfectly, I tell the kids who all in school want to call me Steve, I'm like, wait till you show me a diploma. Now you have like not only a high school diploma, you have a doctorate, so you have more than enough credentials to, Steve is okay.
I'll try.
We'll see. Either way. Mike, I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come out here. If you've ever seen the podcast or if you're watching it at home right now, we start every episode off the exact same way. I want to hear from you. I want to know what your Salesian story is. I want to know how you came to know Salesian when you were a seventh grader or an eighth grader, what your journey was like, how you came to hopefully love the place, and anything else you'd like to add. So without further ado, Mike, what is your Salesian story?
Yeah. So as you know, my brother also attended Salesian, Vincenzo Foti, class of 2008. And one thing that I vividly remember when I was a seventh grader is every day he came home with a story, whether it was about a teacher, his classmates, something. And I was almost to a point that I got so excited to hear what was next from his days at Salesian. It was always something. And he loved his teachers, he loved his classmates, and it was always something so exciting to hear. And so I said to myself, because initially I didn't know where I was going to go to high school. I even told, my mom, like, oh, just because Vin's going to Salesian doesn't mean I'm going to go. But after continually hearing that over and over again, I said, I have to. This sounds like an amazing place to go, and that's what brought me there.
It's great to hear because I say this over and over again. Usually I'm the one that says it, but you're the one that said it. Just because your brother was here doesn't mean you needed to come here. You had to go and find that you loved it as well. And it's difficult for the 7th and 8th graders because there are so many choices out there. So I'm happy, and eventually you were a student in my class and one of the finest students I've had. So I was lucky to have you in your classroom. I was lucky to have you in my classroom, I should say. Let's stick right there for a second. All right, we're gonna talk all over the place here. But you were my student in math. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it still B? They still went in A and B back then, right? All right, so it was math B plus. All right, so it was the honors class. And I taught for 3 years, 2006, 7, 7, 8, and then 8, 9. So I had you in one of those classes there. I believe it was my last year teaching, 07, 08. I had you as a junior, or 08, 09, I should say. And I remember you very vividly because I think, as I told you a little bit earlier today, the one thing that stood out about Mike, aside from him being a tremendous student, I could never ever get him to sit straight in his desk. So if the teacher was pointed here, Mike would turn his whole body and flip his legs this way and look at me kind of this way. But any question I asked, he got it right. So I was like, how do I tell this kid 150 times, please sit straight? Well, Mike, it seems like it didn't matter which way you were sitting. You grasped my material, and you were great to have in front of me as a kid in class.
That's too funny.
So I have a question for you. Salesian High School's had so many people, so many big names come and go. Are there any people, any teachers that stood out to you in particular that might have helped you along your way? Or someone that when you say Salesian High School, you think of that person right away? Is there anybody in that category for you?
For sure. Besides you, Mr. Sallustio, of course.
I wasn't.
No. It wasn't a pitch for yourself.
It wasn't a pitch.
Not at all.
I wasn't fishing for that at all.
I'm just saying, besides you, because we could talk all day about that, 2 other teachers that immediately come to mind. One being Miss Jessica Cullen. She was my AP English teacher. Besides just being so kind, she was so kind and warm and inviting, was that what I learned in her class was you read a book, you learn a story, and it's not just about the story. There's so much more to that, and I took it, so much to that next level, and I became an avid reader after that, and learning what so much more a book can tell you, but on just the story itself. And again, she's just a wonderful person. So she was a great teacher. And the other teacher for sure is Mr. Angelo Petrino, who, besides also being a wonderful teacher, teaching me 2 different classes for history, we had a lot of fun in this class, and he taught me not to take yourself too seriously and not to take life too seriously. And I really developed a thick skin and be able to laugh at myself in his class, and he would laugh with me, and I don't think I ever laughed more in any class besides Mr. Petrino's class. And so those are 2, besides you, Mr. Sallustio, that come to mind. Yes.
Well, I'm happy you said those too. And again, we talk before we start recording, we talk, and we didn't talk about anything that we're going to actually speak about today. This way, everything kind of comes off as natural. There's no script here. But I'm happy you mentioned those 2 names because they're very good friends of mine. So Jess Cullen is now Mrs. Jessica Menick. Obviously wasn't married back when we were when you were in school. And Angelo Petrino, 2 really good friends of mine. We stay in touch. I'm going to text them as soon as we're done to tell them that I had Mike on the show, and he mentioned the 2 of them. And Angelo was my next door neighbor up in, he was in 407. I was in room 408.
That's right.
You heard me say that Salesian High School is a school that prepares for life, and there's a big marketing campaign we have going on right now that's pushing prepare. How is Salesian preparing you? How are you preparing yourself for the next step? Tell me a little bit about what you're doing in your professional life, and maybe how Salesian High School prepared you for that.
100%. And I'm so happy to be here to talk about this because I don't think many people know this, that before Salesian, I was, not the A student that I became here in Salesian. Middle school, elementary school, I was very much a class clown. I would get in trouble often. I could tell you more about this off the air, but I tied my own shoes together one year in like the 4th grade because I saw it on a cartoon, and my mom got that phone call and she couldn't stop laughing. But I was a class clown. I got B's and C's, and I wasn't that, great in school. I didn't take it seriously. I came to Salesian, and I don't know, my mom used to say too that this was the institution that first challenged me and put me on the right path. And so being a doctor was always a thought in my mind, but when I came here, I guess was challenged just so much so that I became driven. I was put on the right path, and being a doctor went from a thought to a goal here. And so I owe Salesian that for sure, putting me on the right path. And now happy to say that, from here, went to Iona College, now Iona University, majored in biology. From there, I went to NYIT College of Osteopathic Medicine in Long Island. From there, internal medicine residency at Greenwich Hospital, part of the Yale system of hospitals. And now happy to be teaching, just like you were, but as a professor at Touro College of Osteopathic Medicine in Middletown, New York.
So how is teaching? Is it different being in front of the classroom now?
Yes. I give you a lot of credit for that. I'll tell you that. All my students sit up straight, but they're wonderful. And one thing I was, just telling, your wonderful students today is that what I found is that even though my whole life, doctor, that was the thing that I was chasing, that title, what I learned in that process was my why, which was I just wanted a mentor. I wanted to be that person that students could come to, not just to learn the material and succeed and pass their exams, but also just to be there for them, be an ear to listen to, and that became so much more important than the title, and why I was more than okay with shifting away from practicing medicine and becoming a professor of medicine.
I have to tell you, I've been here, this is my 20th year at school, and I was only in my 3rd year when I had you, and my 4th year by the time you had graduated or were graduating. And certain young men come and go, and you can say, oh, I hope this guy's going to be, he's going to be good. This one you have to keep a little bit closer of an eye on. When I had you in class, even before I had you in class, how we get to know the underclassmen, even though I don't have them in class. I was excited to get you, and I was excited to get that entire group of the class of 2010. You in particular always displayed a tremendous amount of maturity. And I knew first of all, as an Iona grad myself, I was excited that you were going there. And I knew that whatever you did, you were going to be successful, because my small sample size with you was your math teacher. And certain points in that class, it's some of the work was pretty difficult. And you never wavered. You put your head down, you figured it out, you asked for help when you needed it, and you got it. You got the help, and overall, the grades showed. So I am so proud to hear about this. I really am. And just more recently, us getting in touch and just staying in touch has meant a lot to me. So how about that's enough with the professional stuff. How about your personal life? How do we what's happening in the Foti family?
That's exciting and busy. I'm happily married since June 1st, 2019. If I didn't get that date right, my wife would be upset.
Yep.
2 wonderful children, my son Valentino, who's now 4.5 years old, and my daughter Vittoria, who's 2.5. So busy times.
It is very busy, Mike. And the father of 2 boys, people have the nerve to ask me what I'm doing on the weekends. I say, I have no idea. Go ask my kids.
That's right.
Because all I'm doing is chasing them around. So it seems like they're probably busy, and it's only going to get, I want to say better. It's not going to get worse. It's only going to get better.
That's
because
right.
I love following them around.
That's right.
So stay energetic, because those kids need it. Mm-hmm. So, Mike, I do this, like, kind of, let's call it a segment here, because this podcast has been going on for a while. I do a segment with guys. I want to call you a young alum, even though you're out of here. Going to be 16 years. It feels like yesterday. Let's still call you a young alum. I usually do this with guys that are graduated more recently. Can I use that terminology? But I'm going to try it with you. So if everybody knows, I dig over here and I pull out your old high school transcript. Don't give me that look. You know you're a good student. So we're just going to ask some random questions about Michael's academic journey through here. I'm going to skip all the detentions and all the other stuff there, please. I'm just kidding. I can imagine you probably never got one. All right. We're going to start with some easy questions here.
Fine.
All right. Oh, boy. 4 years. What was your overall rank?
In the class?
In your class, the class of 2010, what was your overall rank?
That's an easy question first.
Let's see, it's easy. I told you it was going to start off easy. I'm trying to make this easier. I'm not trying to stump you just yet.
Thank goodness.
This isn't Math B. I'm not trying to stump you yet.
That's right.
All right, so you were the number 1 overall student. True or false? You were the number 1 overall student all 4 years.
Measured at the end of each year?
At the end of each year. So at the end of freshman year, what was your rank? Sophomore, junior, and then senior.
I think yes.
Yeah, 100%. It's true. You were number 1 for all 4 years.
Yes.
So you never let anybody in.
That's right.
Oh man, I hope you don't drive like that. Let people merge in, Mike. Give it somebody else a shot. You have an incredible transcript here, and I looked very closely at this. I almost needed a magnifying glass, literally, because I'm not getting any younger here. There is one. I don't want to say class. Let's say subject, if you understand what I'm saying. One subject, I can almost say it. I can't say it without almost giving a hint. There's one subject. You took this class 3 years, and all 3 years you had a perfect 100 average. Can you tell me what class? You're smiling, dude. You're smiling like I gave you the questions already.
No,
this is completely random.
Didn't give me the questions. I think I know what this is.
Now I hope you're right.
Was it Italian?
100% it was Italian.
Yeah.
What? Do you speak Italian?
That's why I took it.
I love it. You make me sink it down in my chair. Okay, so 4 years, Italian 1, 2, and 3, perfect 100 average right across the board. Although you slipped up, you only got a 98 on the Regents exam.
Oof, it was something.
You did.
I'll have to talk to Miss Caringi. I don't know.
Shout out Miss Caringi.
That's right.
And now you probably had her for all 3 years, right?
That's right.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh my God, we're talking Caringi, Cullen, Petrino.
Reach out to them.
I am, all of them. This is like a walk down memory lane for me too. Okay, since I can't ask this next question to a lot of people, this is going to be the toughest one, Mike. I'm not going to lie. I'll try to make it easier. I'm not going to ask it in a tough way. In 12th grade, your GPA was a 98.31. That was your GPA in 12th grade.
Okay.
What was your lowest average?
I'd have to remember the classes too.
Okay, can I give you the classes?
Yeah.
Okay, in alphabet, no particular order.
Sure.
Religion 12, AP English Lit, U.S. Government, Economics, Poli Sci, global issues, calculus, band, which you got an A in band, and phys ed. I could give you a slight hint if you need. I'm hoping you don't need it.
Is it AP English Lit?
AP English Lit was absolutely. You're excellent at this, Mike. You're making it. I'm telling you what, they're not going to believe that this is a random segment here.
It is, and also I was on the trivia team, so I was on News 12, Channel 12 for that one.
Were
I don't think
you?
you guys do that anymore, but
Yeah. We do. Well, we do it different now. It's called like AM. We just do AM Salesian.
well, no, we compete against other high schools.
I remember that.
Yeah, I was on that.
Yes.
Captain that.
Was that Mr. Giuliano's?
That's right.
Oh my God, Giuliano, Cullen, like the list, Caringi, Petrino, the list is growing and growing. Okay, so your average in AP English Lit was a 93. And that was the lowest. That was the worst you did in senior year. Not bad.
It's a tough class.
Okay, now bonus question. What was your average junior year in math B plus with that amazing teacher you had?
97.
You wish. It was a 95.
I suffered.
Oh, man, what a great class that was. All right, so that was it. I won't torture you anymore. 4-year cumulative. Oh, no, I don't even know how to find the cumulative GPA on here. Geez, clearly I've been here a long time, but I'm not in charge of transcripts. Let's just say you did. Oh, no, I think the 98.31 might be cumulative. Either way, absolutely tremendous transcript. And listen, you're seeing personal and professional success because look at that body of work you put in. I'm really, all jokes aside, super proud of everything that you're doing right now.
Thank you.
So I'm going to transition just a little bit and see if you have any thoughts about this. The class of 2026 is graduating, the first week in June, I think it is, first weekend of June or whatever it is. And this year, I'm happy to say that you've accepted the distinction of being the commencement speaker. I did text you and say, if you see a phone call from Salesian, make sure you answer it. Can you take me through what that was like? Because it is quite an honor to get that call. So
Yeah. Well, from the text message, I had no idea what that was going to come next. But getting the call from Father Jim Huser was, and when he asked me, this honor was, I was shocked. I was speechless. I didn't know what to say. It's something I would have never thought of have this distinction, and from a place that means so much to me and formed so many memories and put me on, like I said, the right path to where I am now. It's unbelievable, and I'm just again I'm excited to be able to share any wisdom that I can with this class, and now hindsight, so much that I've learned since graduating Salesian, going through college, medical school, residency, and all of this, and just having so much that I wish I knew then that I can now hopefully impart on the next class. It was unbelievable.
I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to have you up there. It's going to be the first time I have a former student of mine speaking in front of the class, in front of the graduating class. So I'm pumped about it. I also want to circle back to one thing real quick, because you mentioned talking to the kids earlier today. At the time of filming, today is Salesian High School's career day. So this is gonna air a bit later on, but today's Salesian High School's career day. Real quick, and I don't want to take up so much of your time, but I definitely want to get all this out. What was it like coming back here it's been a while since you've been back. So what was it like coming back, getting into a classroom, seeing some of the current students and talking to them?
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I could see, kind of their eyes light up when talking about certain things and for my career, and they asked such wonderful questions, and a few students also approached me at the end and just thanked me and told me about their aspirations for the medical field, and it's unbelievable. It's like it feels like it was yesterday. Walking down these halls, I could remember, oh yeah, I know who was in that classroom. I remember being in that classroom. I remember this hallway. Although I will say on the other side, it's been very updated and renovated since I've been here. It's very beautiful, which is great. So at the same time, it looks a little different, but the feeling is there. And just it took me back very quickly, but it's been a beautiful day, and the students were very kind. They all thanked me, and it was very nice.
It was almost surreal for me too, because this is my first year doing some alumni work, and I invited a bunch of younger guys. So to see them come back and I saw you. I was in your classroom for a little bit while you were speaking to the boys, and I just remember that young man in 11th grade taking my math class, and I said, like, how did we get here? So it's, I'll tell you how we got here. You put your head down, you did what you needed to do, you dug your heels in, and you're making something great of it. And that's really the moral of the story here. Hopefully you got those roots from Salesian High School, and hopefully those roots continue to grow and blossom for you. Real quick, I want to ask one last question about Salesian. I know you were involved. You were involved in a lot when you got here, not just as the valedictorian, but anything else that you got involved with outside of the classroom when you were here?
Yeah, I was in a few things. I was, editor of the newspaper. One thing that was really special for me is I was one of the head lecterns here when we would do the readings at Mass, and Mr. Giuliano got me into that actually, and I really appreciate those experiences because it actually really helped with my public speaking, and obviously the valedictorian speech will help with that too. But that helped a lot in that respect in terms of public speaking. But another way too, I continued on going to Iona, being a Christian Brothers school, and so when I did that here though, it really put me more in touch with that spiritual side. Before Salesian, I went to a Catholic school. I went to St. Francis de Chantal in the Bronx before coming here. But the word, I think actually, having to prepare and then read that each Mass, I think actually finally hit me, and I understood more and more and became much more, kind of spiritual and religious in that respect, and really understanding kind of what God had in store for me, and I always go back to that. I always go back to the Word of God anytime I'm really in a difficult situation in my life, and I've been in plenty. So it's always brought me back to that. So that was a special position that I had here that I really appreciated.
It's great to hear that you had those opportunities. You took advantage of it. You had some great leadership with Mr. Giuliano and some of the teachers that you mentioned as well. Before we go, I always love to try to get a word or two out of my guest. To the current students, or even more impactful could be to students that are considering coming to Salesian High School. So before we go, do you have any words that you would like to share with perhaps a student, perhaps there's a student from St. Francis de Chantal watching this, and what would you like to say to that person?
When Mr. Sallustio says Salesian prepares you, let my life be a testament to that. I found drive here, I found passion, I found motivation. And this is probably one of the most warm and inviting places that I've been a part of as a student. And it sets you on the right path. So I would welcome everyone to come here because they put you right where you should be going.
I love it. I love that message. That's going to resonate for a long, long time. Michael, I can't thank you enough for coming on here. I know we're going to stay in close touch. I welcome you back onto this campus any day you want. But thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you, Ms. Sallustio.
I tell you what, this was a great trip down memory lane for me. I loved hearing some of those names, all those teachers that were mentioned. I'm going to text you real soon. With that being said, this is Steve Sallustio on another awesome episode of Eagles on the Air.